Today on the GrandLAN video blog, Jungle Girl. Final Crisis, Resist. Secret 6. Terra. Terror Titans. And finally, Gigantic. Hey everyone, welcome to the GrandLAN video blog for November 5th, 2008. In this installment, we've got some DC and some indie books to talk about. Some very good, interesting surprises, things that may have fallen under your radar. So I hope you're paying attention, willing to check out some new books. First up, from DC, we're going to talk about Final Crisis Resist. This, again, is another part of the giant Final Crisis smash of one-shots and miniseries and things to keep you tied over till Grant Morrison finishes whatever he's doing. And it is coming together fairly well. Written by Greg Rucka, art by Eric Troutman, Ryan Suk. This is pretty much the swan song to Checkmate that Greg Rucka was not allowed to write. We get Mr. Terrific, we get Sacha Bordeaux, we get most of Checkmate entirely in this book. Very interesting appearance by Snapper Carr, which is very unique. And as we've been discussing, Hell on Earth exists and it's busted out in the DC universe. And again, I'm very, very happy that this is showing up in DC books. For too long, companies haven't done that. This is the resistance. This is people trying to stop, trying to find a way to fight against the anti-life equation. It's a depressing story for that reason, but overall, this is a surprisingly good one-shot. I think it's much better than Final Crisis Submit was. I think it's probably among the top tier of all the Final Crisis tie-in books I've even read. Very well done. The only one I've missed, of course, is Rage of the Red Lanterns, which I've heard really good things about, and I kind of wish I had reviewed it to compare it to this to tell you which one is better. But I'm a big fan of Greg Rucka. I was a big fan of his run on Checkmate. So this was right up my alley. Get a nice Omax reference back. It was very interesting, very well done, and it definitely leads right back into Final Crisis. It's a good side story. You don't need it if you're only reading Final Crisis, but if you need a break from all of this trying to comprehend what Grant Morrison is doing while he's on drugs, here you go. Well done. This is one of the reasons why Greg Rucka is the best in the business and vastly underrated at DC Comics. Check it out. Next up, Secret 6, number 3. Gail Simone and Nicole Scott on the roll again. As I've always been high on this series, I've always been high on Gail Simone's portrayal of the formerly Villains United, and now the Secret 6 out of the mini-series that they've appeared in, the one-shots they've appeared in, the Birds of Prey story they've appeared in. This story continues on. It's just more of the great stuff. I feel like I'm repeating myself month after month when this book comes out, just like Spider-Man. Of course, I repeat myself 3 times in Spider-Man, but you guys only have to deal with it once a month here. Really well done, great characterization. These characters are terrible people, and that's the point of the book. They're villains. They're horrible, horrible people, and they do terrible things to each other, and they derive joy from the most extreme, disgusting things, but it's fascinating to see. It's not done in a graphic way, but you see very dark and disturbed people trying to do good in the world. And that's what this book is about. Again, just a solid piece of work. Gail Simone deserves all the credit in the world for keeping this book really well done. It's sad to see Birds of Prey go now that she's not on it. But overall, great book. Check it out. If you're not reading it, if you miss Ostrain or Suicide Squad or anything, with characters like Deadshot, the most fascinating use of Bane ever in a comic book. Definitely, hands down, the best use of Bane ever. Excellent characters, excellent mismatched team. Check it out. It's so much fun. Next up, Terra Titans, another mini-series from DC Comics, part 2 of 6. As we know, this is supposed to be where one of my favorite milestone characters, Static, is going to come in a couple issues, but for now, it's the Darkseid Club. And I think that if we would put some Final Crisis trade dress here, and call it Final Crisis, the Darkseid Club, part 2 of 6, they'd be selling a lot more books. Sean McKeever's on it, so we've got the Teen Titans tie-in, we've got Ravager obviously appearing, so we have to call it the Terror Titans. That's a shame, because this is a fascinating book. Call it the Darkseid Club, DC. Sell some books. There's just no good editorial direction in DC Comics right now. And you got people like McKeever putting out a knockout book right here. It is slightly graphic, it's slightly brutal, but again, what DC Comics, the DC Universe is going through right now, it's supposed to be graphic and brutal, it's supposed to be disturbing, and it's supposed to unnerve you. And that's what happens when you put Grant Morrison in charge. This should be a Final Crisis tie-in. It's not a Final Crisis tie-in, and I have no idea why. It's really well done. it definitely ties in. It's an interesting book, much better than Countdown the Arena, which it still kind of has that idea, but it's better executed. Very well done. Again, I can't say it enough. I think it's probably even better than the Teen Titans book, and obviously miles better than Titans. But check it out. Fun stuff. Very interesting to see where this is going. Some good characters. Next up, in the last of the DC books this week, Terra #1. You got Justin Gray, Jimmy Palmiotti, and Amanda Conner. Obviously, Palmiotti and Conner working as a team naturally. And again, an interesting idea, but we attach the name Terra to it, and now it becomes, is she Terra from the Teen Titans? Do we have to tie this in? Palmiotti and Amanda Conner obviously drawing in Power Girl. Amanda Conner is one of her favorite characters, I'm sure, because she shows up every time Amanda Conner works on a book. So Power Girl makes an appearance here, and we find out some interesting things about who this new Terra might be, and it's alright. It's a good start. I don't know if it's necessarily going to go gangbusters. It's a 4-issue miniseries. Again, it's not being marketed well. I'm not seeing DC on Newsarama telling me about this book in an interesting way. I'm seeing softball questions from articles that are just going up that are just going to say, DC is releasing this book. Blah, 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 blah. Hey, Jimmy Palmiotti. Hey, Amanda Conner. How's your book going? Oh, pretty good. That's good. This could be much more interesting. They could sell this to people, and they're not doing it. It's a decent, middle-of-the-road book. People will enjoy this. This is not Watchmen, but it's loads better than a lot of the stuff that's out there. And, Marvel, it's $2.99, not $3.99. It's perfect. It's an excellent book for new readers. It's a 4-issue miniseries. It's an empowered female character. DC, of all people, should be concerned about portraying female characters, in an empowered state, because they don't do it enough. Here's a chance for them to say, hey, we're doing it, and they're not drawing your attention. This is underrated. It's well done. It should be bought, and nobody's going to buy it for that reason. So fight past the DC terrible marketing strategy. Tell someone about this book, please. It's good. Moving to the indie stuff, Jungle Girl Season 2, #1. Frank Cho, obviously, cheesecake extraordinaire. What can we say? It's cheesecake. The storyline is very, very thin. There's not a lot going on here. But if you like to see Frank Cho draw Jungle Girl, and you didn't get enough of Sheena, and you didn't get enough of all the other Frank Cho books that he's drawn, guess what? He's not drawing the inside. But he's got someone who's really good at aping his style on the inside, so that works well enough. I showed this to the boss, and he goes, this is a spank mag, and it pretty much is. But again, if you're into this sort of thing, and I know a lot of the fans of Dynamite Entertainment love the campy, over-the-top Jungle Girl, and if you like Season 1, this is more of the same. Nothing new, nothing unexpected here. It's all right on the cover. You see exactly what you're getting. Not a bad book if you're into that sort of thing. Lastly, and I must draw attention to this book over and over and over again. In fact, I'm going to walk it right up to the camera. Gigantic, #1 by Rick Remender. I'm going to admit, I'm kind of ignorant when it comes to an indie creator like Rick Remender. I've seen Fear Agent on the shelf, I've never read it. I see his appearance as a Goldfish and Punks, shout out to my boy Brad who couldn't make it this week, but I've never actually really sat down and read a Rick Remender story that's been well done. I read some of his what ifs and they were uneven, but he had some difficult stuff to work with. Right here is a unique premise, and there's an excellent article at the back by Remender himself telling you how he comes up with this premise. We as a society spend a lot of time watching TV, reality TV, different sorts of entertainment. So what if there's a more advanced alien life form or alien race out there who built Earth as an arena for giant battles? What if Survivor Mars? This is what this is, except for what if we built a planet and set a bunch of people to it and played Survivor on it? And those people were giant, like Godzilla, Mothra, giant monster attacks. That's exactly what this book is about. And it's a crazy idea, it's really well done, and I'm really excited to see where it goes. There's some crazy ideas out here. Rick Remender's got a really good book right here, and I think, again, there's a bad chance that it's going to fall under the radar. So check it out. If you've read Rick Remender's stuff, you already got a leg up on me. Definitely check this book out. Solid book, probably one of the best things I read this week, and I read a lot. And that's it for this episode. We'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.